Now we're off and recording. So thank you. It is week 5. Can you guys believe that? We have been doing this for 5 weeks. 5 weeks. Count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I get to be the person to share with you guys tonight. I'm excited. I'm excited to spend time with you. Danielle, thank you for letting me know that Brad is here as well. Don't want to miss. We got Rachell. You guys, I love it. We've had a great time. Team Black, we launched a challenge, the Cold Shower Challenge. I'm not up to the 3 minutes like some other much stronger men than myself. I get to about 35 seconds. Now, one of the things I've realized, I bought myself a little timer. If you don't know what we're talking about, I'm going to indulge you a little bit. Tyson, one of our great Team Black members, brought up the idea of taking a cold shower. It's kind of like a reinvigoration thing. An invigoration thing is part of your shower, take a cold shower. The dude does 3 minutes. And so there's some people like Dan Caskey who has stepped up to the plate and done 3 minutes. I realized that even if I shave my head, my shower does not really last that long. And I am on a very tight time budget. I don't have enough time to do that. So I take a cold shower as long as I can. And I've been up to like 45, 47 seconds. But I'll let you know that's what we've been doing as part of our sit in the shower for 20, 30 minutes. Yeah, that would be my daughter, not me. Thank you, Megan. Anyways, you guys, I am excited to talk to you tonight. And I'm going to be going through one of the requirements that you guys had as far as joining this group. And that was to fill out the color code test. I'm going to weave in, we're going to talk about strengths, and we're going to talk about a lot of great tools and kind of recognize how you've gotten to this point where you're at. And so I want to applaud you guys for being here, for showing up again and again, 5 weeks in a row. And I know this is, I have to admit though, that I haven't absolutely, I don't want to say I haven't played it 100%, but I failed. I failed along the way. I have not, done 100% of our requirements. I have yet to, but I will by our call tomorrow night. I've yet to record me going through the comp plan. I failed. I recognize that. I did watch last week. I did watch Evan Almighty. Did you guys watch? Who watched the movie? Who had seen it before? So there's a lot of you that are either lying and say you didn't do your homework. I admitted I haven't. And so yes, I'm glad you guys, but I want to talk a little bit about that and recap from Kelley about branding. And I think, and I shared this last night, I did a call for the Brown Box Bros for Hawaii. We had Uwe and Natalie talk, and they're really starting this group of guys, and it's awesome and exciting to see. And one of the things I talked to him about from the branding point of view is I said, no matter what you do, if you aren't you, everyone else can tell and know. So don't start being who you aren't, because it'll throw everyone off and they won't believe you. And so my encouragement for you guys all, as Kelley shared so excellently last week, and kind of as I encourage them, is realize the most important thing to be is just you, and just you. And I need to do my homework. Okay, here we are. Now we're going. Now we can, spotlight this and we're getting the right people. I see Kelley. I can only imagine what she's going to, make sure that I'm doing right. And so I've talked about that stuff. We talked a little bit about Kelley last week and great things she shared. I know that, Laura has shared tremendous stuff as well. Next week, we have Lindsay Hofber, who's going to bring us full circle, right? And this week, I get to talk about the color code. And so if you guys all remember, you took the color code test at the beginning, just kind of a quick show of hands or in the comments, who remembers their color? Who remembers their color? Who lives, breathes, and dies their color, whether they want to or not? Go ahead in the comments. Who is, yes, color. What's your color? I think we actually have stats on this. I'm going to ask either Kelley or Lindsay. I don't know if I saw Laura, but either one of those, because Lindsay's the one that's on top of our details. If you could, as part of this, I should have asked this. I didn't. I failed here. I would love to know the breakdown of the different colors. How many reds we had, how many yellows, how many blues. I think there was a big discrepancy. And I want to share that because I think that's important for us to kind of know. Lindsay is okay. Great. There you go, Lindsay. If you could share, even in the comments, just the breakdown of the different colors, the red, the blue, and she's on it. I can see her. She's on it. She's going to try.
I don't have that my monkey survey data, but I'm going to keep looking. So okay. I know what you're after.
It was split. I don't know. We'll read it. But this is what I want you to say. This is what I want you to understand. Each one of those colors has specific attributes. And that's kind of, if you've ever done personality tests, it doesn't mean you're locked into that. That just kind of is different attributes. And one of the things that I've learned by taking different personality tests over time, it doesn't define you. And that's what I want you guys to understand. It doesn't define who you are if you take a color test. If you take a strengths assessment, if you've done Strengths Finders 2.0, it doesn't define you. If you've done Myers-Briggs, if you've done DISC, you've done, maybe you've done those things. It doesn't have to define who you're ultimately going to be and how you show up in every way. Because as I'm going to share with you guys, color first, and then we'll get into strengths. Understanding your strengths and your colors and your attributes are very important in developing and growing as a leader. Because one of the biggest things that I had to learn is I had to learn how my personality, as much as it drove me, it also drove people away. And I'm going to share with you is sometimes your color, you may want to own that, and that's great and that's wonderful, but you have to accept your color is also going to drive people away. And that's okay, but you got to own that. You have to accept that and understand, hey, part of being a leader is understanding you got to work with people that maybe aren't the same color as you. Because I can guarantee you this. If your entire organization is all red, you're not going to have much fun. And if your organization is all white, you guys are going to know all the numbers. You're going to love each other, but you're not going to get very far. And if it's all blue, it's going to be hunky-dory. You're singing Kumbaya. But guess what? It is the blend of the colors that makes a team great. It's what makes an organization great. And I'm going to share with you, as Kelley kind of jokingly mentioned, but I've seen this, and I've actually, whether she's going to tell me I'm lying, but I've seen this in myself, is really the evolution of a leader is becoming a rainbow, is understanding, hey, you know what? I need to be red sometimes. I need to be a yellow and just laugh it off and have fun. I need to be a blue and be that compassionate person. And I need to be the white where it's more analytical thinking. And so before we go deeper into that, I'm going to say, these are what the colors represent. Red is power. The red are power wielders. Power, the ability to move from point A to B and get things done, is what motivates and drives these people. They bring great gifts of vision, leadership, and are generally responsible, decisive, proactive, and assertive. Okay, if you're red, say I and own it. I'm a red. I'm happy to be a red. It's cool. I understand God gave me the power of a red in situations, but I also know this. If I don't use that wisely, my red is like a fire engine and drives everyone away. And that's what I shared earlier. Okay, let's get into yellow or blue. Blue's next. Blues are the do-gooders. Their intimacy, connecting, creating quality relationships, and having purpose is what motivates and drives these people. They bring great gifts of quality and service and are generally loyal, sincere, and thoughtful. You know, that when you think about a blue, how does that make you feel when you think about a person that's blue? Those are the comforters. Those are the people that absolutely, they make a situation not volatile. Because we'll go back to the Reds. Sometimes the Reds can make the situation volatile, and nobody ain't got time for that, right? Volatility tears us down. It doesn't get us through. And owning that you're blue is great, but sometimes I won't lie to you. Sometimes blues, you need to move ahead, and sometimes you got to say hard things. You got to get a little purple, because life is about moving forward, and sometimes that may be relying on your spouse to be the red one. But you got to become purple, all right? White are the peacekeepers. Peace, the ability to stay calm and balanced even in the midst of conflict, is what motivates and drives these people. They bring great gifts of clarity and tolerance and are generally kind, adaptable, and good listeners. Here we are, October 19th, 2020, the year of COVID. White has been a good color to have for a lot of people. Just take a deep breath and say, hey, you know what? We're going to get through this. We're going to move forward. As I look at Kelley, she's practicing her morning meditations. And there's an element of, you know what? This is getting back to the rainbow. When everything's hitting the fan, all the stuff splattering on the fan, there's a good time to slow down and say, okay, let's just take a deep breath here. Let's not get all so hot and bothered and crazy in society that sometimes we just need to pump the brakes a little bit and say, it's going to be okay. Let's assess the situation. Let's move forward. And we'll talk about that later, how I see myself in some ways white, unbelievably white. There's, pink is somewhat people say. No. And then lastly, yellow. Yellow are the fun lovers. Think golden retriever. They're fun. The joy of life, living in the moment, is what motivates and drives these people. They bring great gifts of enthusiasm, optimism, and are generally charismatic, spontaneous, and sociable. Here's one of the things I will tell you guys. If you know me, you know me well. I don't think anyone would say jump up and down and say that's Tyler. But what I need to do is I need to make sure that those people in my life are empowered, and I got to not squash them and say they're wrong, and not push them away and say, get with the program. I need to be the one to empower them and say, hey, that's so important. So as I've described those colors and as I've given my perspective, you guys maybe understand kind of a little bit where this rainbow element comes into it. Because leading an organization, if you're all yellow, you ain't going to get anything done. If you're all red, you're going to drive everyone away. If you're all white, you're keeping peace, you're fine, you're cool. But you know what? You got to move forward. You got to have that red element. And if you're blue, everyone's hugging and everyone's happy, and yet everyone's crying. And it's okay. All of those elements are very important. And I think why I wanted to talk about this is that I had to learn a lot of these things. In my previous profession, and I talked to a guy today who, he and his wife built a very successful Isogenics business, and they've moved on to a different career path. And he made the comment to me, he's like, I learned I wasn't a great leader. And I said, dude, right there, that's the number one thing to moving forward. And I think understanding that, you know what, if red pushes people away from me, well, then I'm not going to have that influence that Kelley talked about last week. If red pushes people away from me, they're not going to succeed because I'm not looking at them and saying, hey, how can I help you and use your yellow to be successful and fit into how best it fits everyone? So, you guys ready to take a little field trip with me? Can I get a few shakes of the head? I'm looking at, Lindsay, and she's doing such a nice job of smiling, and Lucas and Kelley, and I need to move on to another group because I want to see you all. So you guys ready to go on a field trip? All right, we're going to take a field trip, and we're going to take a field trip. And in order to do this, I got to share my screen. So bear with me as I share my screen here. I'm going to share this. I'm going to make it large, and then I'm going to push play. And I want you guys to watch this, because I think this is oh so important to the next phase that we talk about.
You know what your job is, Paul? find the genius among those geniuses, pull us all up. We all get to the peak together, or we don't get there at all.
Yes. Well, good night, sir.
Did you guys see that? Did everyone hear that? Give me kind of a, you could hear that? Okay, good. Yes, no? Shaking head, you can kind of hear it. I'm sorry. That clip was from the movie Hidden Figures. It's a movie we watched over the weekend. And when I heard that clip, I was like, that's it. That is it right there. Now, let me set you a little scene if you haven't seen the movie Hidden Figures. Hidden Figures was a movie, documenting these African-American women, Black women, that were working for NASA in the 1960s. And these ladies were amazing mathematicians, but yet they weren't regarded as amazing mathematicians because their society did not view race in that way. And you heard the man who was talking, and his name is Paul Harrison, I believe. And he was the leader here. And he kind of really started to break down the color barrier for them. But as you heard, as he was talking to his, the other guy, he's like, you can't take all the credit. You can't be the one that's like, it's about me. He goes, we only get to the top if everyone succeeds. And he said, your job is to recognize the genius of the geniuses and take us all to the top of the mountain. Because what they were on an arms race to get to the moon. And he recognized one guy couldn't do it and they had to rely on each other. This is the element of strengths and color. This is the element of why understanding about the color and how they all fit together is so pivotal in this business, because it's not about you. Because you can be the reddest of the red, and guess what you're going to do? You're going to be on a hike all by yourself. And you can have the greatest party in the world as a yellow, but if all you do is party, well, then that's all you're going to end up as. And if you're white that just is wants to sit back and just watch it all happen, and that's great. Those attributes are very important as they fit together as a rainbow does, as it fits together like that office did in NASA. And so that's where I want you guys to understand is like, it's this element of how can we as leaders, how can we, as people here say, what can we do to make sure that we fit together like a gear that just rolls and goes. And part of me learning how to be a rainbow was making sure I did do more to push people away. Hold on, I'm trying to get back to my notes. And guys, I'm sorry about the, oh my goodness, come on, let's get back here. I'm sorry about the Spanish subtitles. That's the only video I could find. So if you read it in Spanish, good for you. But again, moving along is not everyone has to be like you. Have a plan, have the ability to veer off course and wake when it makes sense. So for example, Isogenics has a great system, right? Can we say there's a system? And where people get hung up, they're like, I don't like a system. I don't want to be told what to do. Don't tell me what to do. But the problem is for some people, they need that guide rail of a system. This morning I talked about it in regards to my own goals on Coffee Chat. And I said, if you don't keep those, it was in English, yeah, but the subtitles are in Spanish. So if you guys read them, great. And I talked about it. I got to have my goals front and center. Because if I don't have my goals front and center, well, then my GPS doesn't stay where I'm going. I get off track. And at the same point, if someone doesn't like a system, I don't want a system, I want to do it all on my own, I want to be crazy, whatever, that's fine. But guess what happens? You'll get down a rabbit trail, you'll get completely off base, and you won't know back where to find yourself back at center. And you'll be just lost chasing your tail. And that's why there is a system. And you can say, hey, that's going to keep me on the path. I can do it a different way. That's fine. I'm a white. I like to interact with people more like this. I'm a red. I, tend to interact with people like this. That's fine. Because remember what I said earlier, as Kelley mentioned last week, be you, and understand a system keeps you going down the road. It's like guardrails. You can pick which lever you want to drive in the slow lane, drive in the slow lane. You want to drive in the fast lane, drive in the fast lane. You try to drive past the guardrails, it doesn't work. And so part of that as a leader, is part of understanding your strengths, your color, is to be able to say, hey, raise your hand and say, I'm good at this. I like to do this. How can I help others do this? But one of the other great gifts is seeing that in others, to say, you know what, as Kelley mentioned last week, so beautifully and eloquently, as she talked about, Lindsay and Laura, and she threw out a couple of nice things about me too, which was very kind of her, is she recognized the gifts in each of us and spoke that belief. And how many of you other recognized, oh, I saw that. But I can guarantee I don't recognize that myself, because I need someone to point that out. And I'm not going to speak for Laura and Lindsay, but I'm going to guess sometimes they overthink those things and don't see those in themselves either. And that's the greatest opportunity for ourselves, kind of understanding more about us, is saying, hey, I see this in you, and it's exceptional. Because each of our superpowers, we don't know there are superpowers. When Superman grew up on, the planet, it was Krypton, right? Am I right? I'm not good with, comic books. I didn't read those. I kind of watched a little bit. I won't lie to you. I watched Mighty Mouse more than I watched Superman. Yes, Krypton. Thank you so much, Jake. How would I know you'd understand? But when Superman grew up on Krypton, his powers were the same as everyone else. It wasn't a superpower. But when he came to the earth, all of a sudden it was a superpower. All right. And so he didn't know that when he was on Krypton, because it was what it was. Right. And so that's where we have the power to be able to share that with others. So first homework piece this week on your teams, go through and recognize at least one superpower in someone else. And you get bonus points if you can do more. So when you guys are having your team meeting this week, sit down and talk about your strengths. Say, hey, I love doing this. But do you know what? I love it when Jake keeps it light and easy and makes all of us laugh. That's his superpower. He keeps it light and easy. And those of a Team Black, I see Lucas, he's kind of shaking his head. It's like, you know what? Jake keeps us easy going. It keeps us going down the path. We don't get too myopic, right? Move forward. And so take that opportunity, guys, to share with your team members what their superpower is. Okay, you're ready for the next homework. This is a free one. You don't have to spend any money doing it. I'm going to copy and paste this right now in the chat. I will make sure that Lindsay has a copy of my notes as well, all this stuff. Guys, this is a tool from Marcus Buckingham. I took this assessment today. It takes about 20 minutes. It's free. If you want to unsubscribe from the list, I don't know what list I'm going to get, but Marcus Buckingham, he has good stuff. All right. So Marcus was one of the authors with Tom Gallup, that wrote StrengthsFinder 2.0. StrengthsFinder 2.0 was probably one of the most catalytic, changing assessments I've ever taken in my life. If you guys haven't taken StrengthsFinder, I recommend it. You can do the 5, which is about $20. You can do the full 34. It's $50. You don't have to spend any money though. Take the standout. It's good. It's fun. You can go with it. And in this gift to standout, this again, we're going to do more homework today. We're going to do more. Let me find it. Come on, guys. I'm sorry. Here it is. We're going to do more field trips. So here's another field trip. Field trip, if you didn't know, is going to a screen share. It's field trip. All right. So here is my standout assessment. You guys would get results like this. It says how to use it. And what it said is Tyler's a stimulator and he's a teacher. Your infectious energy for learning. It's like, yeah, I like to learn. My number 2 strength is learning. My number 1 strength is strategic. That's where I get a little bit of that white. I can sit back and assess the situation. My encouragement, why to do this, is to better understand, maybe if you don't know, what you're gifted at. Because part of this process of leveling up to helping yourself and helping others is to know what you're gifted at. So this is a 15-page report. I won't bore you with all the things, but I just wanted to show you guys the example. Free. If you want to take the strengths assessment, do. My strengths, strategic, learner, command, arranger, and self-assurance. Those are my strengths. And one of the things that I walked through the process and what I saw in fulfillment is when I could utilize those strengths in a healthy manner to help others and serve others, was when I was most fulfilled and felt valuable to others. And it was that process of understanding that helped me grow into being more of a rainbow, because I didn't let the things that were holding me back slow me down. One of the areas that in strengths assessment that I had to really develop, and this is what I want to tell you, that a color or strength does not define you, is I had to develop empathy. As a red, I would say that might be common. Just a guess. That might be common. I'm guessing blues are very high empathy. And when I developed that, what I found is that makes me a better leader, because it's not about me and what I'm trying to accomplish. It's how can I understand others? How can I understand and say, hey, where are you trying to go? And how can I use my strengths to help you get there? And be honest enough to say, I'm not your guy. That's not my strength. That's not an area where I perform. I'll be honest, I'm not great at cultivating and keeping a community growing and developing. That's just not me. And I've had to learn that, as much as that's a frustration. We've tried different, groups, and we've tried different things like, hey, I need someone else that has that ability, a little bit more yellow, to keep everyone engaged and growing. And that's just, if you find yourself in your business group and you're kind of like, hey, there's a bunch of us reds and no one wants to show up around here, go find a yellow and say, hey, I need you to be the party planner and leader. Keep everyone engaged. Make sure they're having fun. Help me in recognition, whatever it may be. Are you guys learning any value here? Is this of any value? Are you guys picking up anything? Am I just boring you? It's, Monday night, there's a football game. There's already a football game going. There's another one coming. All right. So what I want you guys to do, share in the comments. What's the one thing? Gary Keller wrote the book, One Thing. It was a great book. What's the one thing, not 6 things. You can't do 6 things. What's the one thing that you've learned so far in what I've shared? What is the one thing? And I want to, hear that from you guys. I want you to share. I want you to kind of, again, connect with people and share this. Okay. As you guys are saying that, we have 2 pieces of homework so far. Tell someone in your group what they're amazing at, what their superpower is. If you do 2, you get bonus points. You get an extra star. The next thing is, take one of the assessments. Again, you don't have to spend money. Take the standout report. I just did today. I'm looking forward to reading through it. If you haven't, take StrengthsFinder. Take StrengthsFinder. Trust me, it is a valuable resource. Okay. Number 3 piece of, I guess I kind of shared the homework. I kind of mixed up 2 and 3 is, here I'm looking at my notes. Share within your group your unique gifts and strengths, because maybe you have something that you love to do and that everyone else doesn't know. So that's the 3rd piece. So again, we're going to take an assessment. We're going to identify someone else's unique gifts and strengths within our group. We're going to share someone, hey, this is what I love to do. And number 4, ready for this? Is I'm going to go back and read some of these, and I see there's a lot of rainbows. There's a lot of identifying and understanding this about being a rainbow. Great. Not letting a color define you. Put your goals front and center. Yeah, that was a little extra tidbit. Don't be stuck in your color. Yes. Lean on your team for your strengths. Love this, guys. Love this. Love this. Oh, this is good. We all have a superpower. Look at that. Recognize the genius and geniuses. You guys will never be able to watch the movie Hidden Figures and not think about that. You guys will forever, that will be ingrained in your mind, thinking about genius of geniuses in that movie. All right. Let's see what other things we have here. Superman is from Krypton. Yes. Love that, Danielle. Okay. Put your team together like a puzzle of colors. Awesome. Okay. And this may be hard for some of you, and this may be really hard. Admit your insecurities. What's one insecurity and how it's displayed that holds you back? I'll admit mine. There was a long time in my life, I didn't know what I was good at. I didn't fit in. And let me give you a background. I grew up on a farm. I grew up in a school where, it was kind of a farming community. I had other friends that grew up on farms too. I wasn't weird. I moved schools, still roughly the same community, but yet farming wasn't, it was just kind of, they're weird. And I didn't find myself, I didn't fit in, and I didn't understand. And so then I go through some things in life that challenge that. I had a brother that died when I was 14. He was 3. And what I found from that is I just put my blinders on and I'm red and I just pushed. And I pushed and I pushed and I pushed. And guess what I did? I pushed everyone away from me. Partly because I just was putting my head down and push. Part of that is I didn't understand what I was good at, what was valuable. I was a tiny little kid. I wasn't athletic. I wasn't fast. I was kind of smart, but yet my intelligence is where my insecurity showed itself. Because what I thought I had to do to show value is I had to tell people what I knew. I had to tell people how smart I was. I had to say, oh yeah, no, the answer is this. I had to correct people often. And so where my insecurities show up is when I'm trying to push my knowledge out there and say, hey, I have value here because this is what I know. I value here because I can write answers. I can't tell you the number of fights that Kelley and I have gotten into because I just can't swallow my tongue and say, you know what? That's your opinion. That's the way you see it. That's great. I'm going through counseling. She is helping us there. All right. But it's also understanding in some social situations, that's where I really just make an ass of myself. I can say ass here. I've done it in front of multiple stages in isogenics, and I've done it. And I have to remind myself of that. And so one of the things for me is recognizing, how do I grow past that? One of the things that I've learned is fears, judgment, insecurities. The more you admit them to people, they have less of a power over you. When you tell people your insecurities, they're like, well, I kind of knew there was something. Because here's the reality. Everyone knows what's going on. Everyone knows it. So you might as well admit it. They may not know the exact details, like I told you, about my brother putting my head down and trying to feel like I had value. But they know there's something there. There's all of a sudden that place in your life where you go and you get weird. There's that place where all of a sudden you go and all of a sudden people are like, I'm not sure I want to be around them. Or this is how I see other people, kind of deal with their insecurity, is they become a doormat. They let everyone walk all over them. They apologize. They say sorry at every turn. I'm sorry the sun did not set 6 minutes later. It's kind of that epitome of that. To me, as I rationalize this, that's a scale of empathy here. I was callous. I was an a-hole, didn't have much empathy. There's other people on the other side of the spectrum that are so empathetic that just like, please walk all over me. How can I be your doormat? And part of that, in my opinion, admitting some of our insecurities are coming to a place where it's like, it doesn't define you. It doesn't own you. And you could say, yeah, that's what I got to struggle with every day. And what I've found is the more that I am just open in relationships, people are like, oh, okay, you're still an a-hole sometimes. I get it. I own that. I'm recovering. As Bruce the shark said, I'm a recovering fish eater. Every once in a while I smell some blood and I want to eat some fish. But yet, as you're sharing that, it doesn't have the power over you. And I want you guys to experience that. And I know you guys have built close relationships. I've seen it, and it's so exciting with your teams. So I want you to say there. And you know what? The fear of judgment, guess what? Everyone's sharing an insecurity. I encourage you to do that. Because one, when you do that, people are going to be like, okay, great. No big deal. I know your strengths and your insecurities. You have strengths. All of us have strengths. All of us have something we're uniquely and amazingly gifted at. And it's sometimes our job to stop and allow someone else to tell us and not let the fear of all of our insecurities, all of the ways that people teased us, broke us down, did whatever. Because they tease you by your name. Did they tease you about, your ears? Did they tease you about your bald head? Whatever it may be. You just have to say, hey, I'll do this talking. I don't know why that is. Okay. Did you guys hear that? Just me. All right. Well, I think no, that was just me. Where was I? Let me go back to my notes. Yes, I do have notes. Okay. Here we are. You froze? Am I unfroze? Am I good? Give me a thumbs up. Jake, thank you. Love looking at your shiny head. I want you guys to recognize the fact that the more that we, again, admit where we can grow and improve, the more that we allow other people to help us. And the more that we allow other people to help us, we become that rainbow. We start to, as someone said earlier, we come together like a puzzle. And all of a sudden, our teams start to achieve more because one is too small of a number to achieve greatness. It takes many others along that path in order to be part of the process. It takes much more to accomplish great, great things. And if you allow your color to push people away, if you allow your insecurities to be a barrier for people to want to work and connect with you, you will not build trust. You will not build influence. And if you don't have trust and you don't have influence, you're not going to achieve anything more than where you're at today. So, did you guys learn anything? No? Yes? Good? Good? Did we learn something? All right. Well, I want to know what you guys learned. So again, I'm going to reiterate the homework for this week. Okay. Take an assessment. Just take one. If you've already taken some, take one. I can guarantee no one's taken the standout. If you've taken the standout, good for you. You're way ahead of the ball. Take an assessment. 2, share with your group one of your strengths, your unique gifts when it comes to just life, personality, business. Like if you can tie a cherry stem with your tongue, it's probably not what we're looking for. Okay. I know Jake is probably a master from his bartending days of knowing what it takes to do that. I'm not looking for that. All right. I'm looking at your unique talents in building relationships, leading, growing this business, growing as a person. Right. Okay. Number 3, is work with the people on your team and recognize their unique gifts and talents, where they're special. And guess what? They may know it, but I'm going to guess it's something they don't. Lastly, but it's not lastly, admit your insecurities. Admit something that is just kind of like builds this little bit of fear. And if someone knew it, and I'm going to warn you, they already know. People closest to you already know. Now, they may not know the deep, gory details, but they already know. Because it's everything absolutely that's holding you back from anything you're trying to accomplish right now. It is. That's why their insecurities, their fears, whatever. And you can either allow them to drive you or you can allow you to hold them back. Okay. So we good with that? We good with those 4 pieces of homework? This is the other thing. Catch up. I mentioned to you guys, I've failed. I've dropped the ball. I need to record a comp plan video. I don't know what else you got to do too. Maybe it's, watching Evan Almighty. Maybe it's, here's the thing. Watching Evan Almighty is not a waste of your time. One, if you use it as anything else, you're going to relax. It's going to be education. It's going to be fun. And Kelley is not getting affiliate paid for boosting that movie, but I'd love to know how much the increase in rentals went this week. Anyways, that's what I got for you. I'm so excited to share. I'm so happy to be here. I am beyond excited for the community that this group has brought. And quite honestly, it's something is like, we can't just not do this again. We have to do something again because one, it's kept every one of us in the game. It's kept all of us engaged. And say, you know what, I can guarantee you this. No matter what, if you're higher in enrollments or cycles or not, if you have played at least 75%, that means showing up at all your team Zooms. If it means committing to others and connecting with them, you have gotten better. And what's the only thing to do beyond this? Play at 100%. Because I'm guilty. I've mentioned to you guys, I'm not standing up here and saying I've done it all and where are you guys at? I'm right here in the middle of the pack, okay? And my encouragement is to continue on with that and continue driving forward with those, the homework this week. Don't look at it as like, oh my God. Because guess what? How many other are you in the group? You didn't share to as many people as I just did. Now, that isn't to put a feather in my cap, but that's just saying, I believe in you and you can do it. All right? So, love this. Love your comments. Love that you guys are, growing. Here's what I want to remind you. Some of you don't watch Coffee Chat. That's okay. If it's not for you, it's not for you. That's cool. That's cool. Anthony does. He shows up. Debbie is there every day. I can set my watch to her. But this is what I want to tell you guys this week. It is Get People Paid Week. Can I reiterate that? It is Get People Paid Week. Why? Because next Monday starts the brand new month for leadership pools. It starts the new month for Leader in Action. Here's the other thing is Wednesday through Sunday this week, we have free shipping. Guess what else comes next week? You guys, I'm telling you, top secret. If this is new to you, then you need to come listen to Coffee Chat. But next week, we get some special new shakes. And guess what? I can care less about the shakes. I saw what else is coming, and I can't wait to share it in the morning. This is not a plug for my Coffee Chat. That I don't need to do that. As I imagine, Kelley did not plug her morning meditations last week. She would not do that, but you should go do that. You should go listen to it. It's great if you want to listen to it at 5:30, 8:30, 9:30, 2:30 Hawaiian. But I love that you guys are here. Appreciate you're here. Have a great night. Let's go get it done. All right? 1 week left. 1 week. Thank you all. We'll catch you later.